Good day and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Concerns heighten for Jamaicans as President-elect Donald Trump warns of mass deportation on his first day in office. Marcus Garvey's pardon described as a step in the right direction. And later in sports, former Jamaican athletes make switch to bobsled. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kerry-Ann Simpson. Here are the details. All eyes are set on President-elect Donald Trump, who will in a matter of minutes be sworn into office and become the United States' 47th president. While that is being done, concerns around the world as prior to his election, he revealed that on his first day in office, there will be mass deportations. But how does Jamaica fare in all of this? O'Shane Masters has our first report.
There's an estimated 11 million people in the United States who lack legal status, and for them, concerns as to when they will be deported or extradited. It follows comments by incoming President Donald Trump, who vowed to begin enacting the largest mass deportation operation in U.S. history on day one of his presidency, with one aide saying enforcement will begin the moment that President Trump puts his hand on that Bible and takes the oath of office on Monday. But what's the impact on Jamaica? Robert Finzi-Smith is a security consultant.
First thing you would have to ask yourself is, will this now contribute to our crime rate? Because they will have to find sustenance somehow, and they may not have the wherewithal to do so legally.
It's a point too which political commentator Lord B. Smith has taken note of. However, he says the government must now take decisive action.
Clearly, in that vein, the government should become proactive and begin to look at what kind of social program it can develop to assist these persons. They are, after all, citizens of this country still, and so regardless of their background, whether it be criminal or otherwise, there should be some response from the state to ensure that, for one, we don't have our streets being littered with them, or on the other hand, they become a menace to society by preying on law-abiding citizens.
But just how large that operation is and how swiftly it can be carried out will be determined in part by whether the administration can clear a number of hurdles. Those include pushback from some cities and local law enforcement agencies, a budget and staffing shortfall for immigration and customs enforcement, lawsuits from advocacy and civil rights groups, and questions about the cooperation of countries needed to increase removal numbers.
I should hope that Jamaica will join with any other concerned country, CARICOM, whether it be through CARICOM or the Latin American states, to lobby and to use diplomatic means to see what can be done for some, shall we say, more humane approach to this pressing issue that the president has put at the top of his priority list.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The government says special allocations will be made in the upcoming budget to deal with poor road conditions in rural communities. Prime Minister Andrew Holness was speaking in East Rural St. Andrew Sunday night.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has admitted that East Rural St. Andrew has been plagued with a number of landslides and breakaways in recent years. Mr. Holness says following numerous visits to the constituency, the roads are in a state that needs urgent remedy as it is impacting commercial activities, especially for farmers. He also noted that the educational pursuits of children are being hampered due to the conditions.
So, for communities like Hall's Delight, way up in the hills, and other communities like that, where essentially, though you have a road, the condition of the road essentially maroons the community, cuts off the community. We're going to make a special allocation and develop a special program to deal with those roads so that you can have reasonably comfortable connectivity.
He, however, cautioned residents about the timeline to fix the roads.
They're not going to be fixed with the snap of a finger. But what you can take comfort and assurance is that once the program is in place, it will continue. And it is in the continuation of the program that these concerns are going to be addressed.
The Prime Minister went further.
It's not an easy journey. We have had challenges along the way, unexpected shocks. Nobody knew that we would have Hurricane Beryl. And then from Beryl, almost every month we have had some weather events and heavy rains. But your government has been such a strong government that we are now able to respond to these shocks and keep our economy going well.
Mr. Holness was speaking at the Golden Gala dinner in East Rural St. Andrew, where over 1,000 seniors were feted by the Member of Parliament for the constituency, Juliet Holness. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Despite Marcus Garvey not being exonerated, senior lecturer in cultural studies at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Sonia Stanley Nair, says the pardon granted by outgoing U.S. President Joe Biden is a step in the right direction. Jamaica's first national hero, Marcus Garvey, was convicted of mail fraud in 1923 and sentenced to 5 years in prison. Speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica Monday, Dr. Stanley Nair says though he was pardoned, advocates will not relent in getting the criminal charges cleared for Mr. Garvey's name. But with a change in government in a matter of minutes, what are the prospects of the exoneration?
I cannot say. We do not know. Trends would suggest maybe not,
yeah.
But we don't know. I actually think that we're going to see some surprising things that may be positive because it's the last term, unless, of course, the laws are changed to suit incoming presidents. But yes, I'm thankful that the United States could see it, and President Biden see it fit, because we were expecting this in previous administrations, that see it fit that at this time in 2025, we have this kind of, inspiration to move forward in terms of our own ideas of Black determination. The legacy of Marcus Garvey lives on. And as we would say, a luta continua. Mm-hmm. The struggle definitely continues to be able to right the wrongs of history. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Church leaders in Manchester say they're taking the fight against crime to communities which have been experiencing an increase in violence.
Rocking on Jesus as a community of poorest in South Manchester has recently been plagued by crime and violence. The level of crime has left fear in business operators and the wider community. Data from the police show that of the 50 murders committed in the parish of Manchester last year, 5 were committed in the poorest community. However, church leaders say that's 5 too many. Hence, they will be taking the fight to the criminals. But how?
Starting on the 22nd, we'll be having street meetings, spot meetings in some of these volatile communities, some of these hotspots that the police have put out. So we're going in to have spot meetings. On the 25th, we're having a children's rally, so we're also targeting the children. We have been in schools, having devotions and continue to have support within the schools. And on the 26th, right at the Baptist Church in Port, just across from the police station, we'll have a mega street meeting.
Chairman of the Poorest Ministers Association, Reverend Paul Blake Jr., says he's hopeful that the meetings will have a positive impact on crime in the community.
I think one of the concerns when you go on the street, persons have been saying that the church is silent, that the church is not taking an active role. Know that the church is taking an active role and playing her part within the community of poorest. I think that there will be positive results.
Chairman of the Jamaica Renew Program and the 10,000 Men and Families Movement, Reverend Dr. Bishop Rowan Edwards, issued this warning to criminals.
The few men and women who are pushing the wrong things and pushing up the murder rate in this community, we are sending you a message that Jamaica doesn't belong to you alone.
The violence has also affected schools in the community. Head boy of the poorest high school, Kaim Irwin, spoke about the impact on students' attendance and learning at his institution.
There has been many incidents at Porus which involve shootings that have made students scared and not want to attend school and make them unease while learning at school.
The prayer breakfast, which was attended by civic leaders, was followed by a march through the town and was held under the theme Breaking Chains, Building Bridges, Reclaiming Porus. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Thanks, O'Shane. To a TVJ News follow-up, the St. Mary Police have charged 39-year-old Labadee Carr, also known as Chubby, for the murder of 16-year-old Jadine Gale. Police say Gale's body was discovered wrapped in a blue tarpaulin on January 5. Mr. Carr, who is Miss Gale's boyfriend, was singled out by the police as a person of interest in the case. Now, following a question and answer session on Sunday in the presence of Mr. Carr's attorney, he was formally charged. And it's now time for a break. Stay with us. More local stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. The parliamentary opposition is again chiding Justice Minister Delroy Chuck for comments made about the operation of the Integrity Commission last Tuesday. Now, Mr. Chuck had said he advised members of Parliament not to divulge the salaries of their spouses to the Commission during the course of its investigations. Speaking at a PNP meeting in St. Anne on Sunday, Party President Mark Golding joined calls for Mr. Chuck to resign. In presenting the party's candidate for Southwest St. Anne, Daniska Williams, Mr. Golding said the rules would have been different if his party was in power.
Integrity Commission Act. If I was Minister of Justice and I was saying the things that the current Minister of Justice was saying, I would have to take with myself. He must go. How can he be giving incorrect, negligent advice to his own colleagues about what their obligations are under the law that is under his own portfolio? It is a disgrace what is happening in this country.
Government Senator Dr. Sapphire Longmore has hit back at members of the People's National Party for calling her a racist. At a JLP meeting in the White Horses Division in St. Thomas Sunday night, a fiery government Senator Dr. Sapphire Longmore fired back at the opposition People's National Party for decrying her as a racist. On Friday, during her presentation in the Upper House, Dr. Longmore showed the image of opposition leader Mark Golding holding the chains of a black man in bondage during a skit at a party rally in 2023. She questioned his decision-making capacity as a leader.
As a man who is seeking
Apologize for that technical error. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Revenues at transportation service provider Knutsford Express increased 5.7% to $500 million for its second quarter, which ended in November. This is compared to the $473 million earned for the similar quarter in 2023. The growth, the company says, was driven by increased passenger volumes across all routes. For the 6-month period in review, revenue rose 8.8% compared to the 6-month period in 2023. Knutsford Express, however, noted that despite contributions from a rental income at its Draxall Business Center and its cafe operations, net profit for the quarter declined by 26.1% to $53 million compared to $71.7 million in the prior year. Further afield, the federal budget deficit will be close to $2 trillion this year. That's according to projections from the Congressional Budget Office. The CBO says the country's deficit will be $1.9 trillion to be exact. It says federal debt will go up to 118% of GDP by the year 2035. The agency predicts over the next 2 years, economic growth will slow down and inflation will also head downwards. The projections come as Republicans plan to drastically upend federal cash flow trends. For the Business Minute, I'm O'Shane Masters.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, the Superior Council of the Judiciary in Haiti has suspended a judge for 3 months following complaints relating to a case in which a minor was raped by a school principal. In a letter sent to the judge, the president of the CSPJ, John Joseph Lebron, said the decision to suspend him followed an investigation into his ruling that it was decided at the statutory meeting on January 16 to place him on leave for a period of 3 months pending his appearance before the disciplinary court, which will rule definitively on your situation. The January 17 letter was also copied to the Dean of the Court of the First Instance of Port-au-Prince and the Personnel Service of the Higher Council of the Judiciary. On the international scene, TikTok is back online after a weekend outage, but its future remains uncertain. A law banning it is still in effect, but President-elect Donald Trump says he plans to issue an executive order today to delay the ban. Analysts say technology companies that support TikTok could be taking a risk. The law says companies that violate the ban face up to a $5,000 fine per user. Trump's actions around TikTok could face court challenges. And tens of millions of residents along the U.S. East Coast braced for several inches of snow yesterday, followed by dangerously cold temperatures that will grip much of the country from the northern plains to the tip of Maine. Winter storm warnings issued by the National Weather Service have already gone into effect for parts of the Mid-Atlantic through this morning, with the forecast projecting up to a half-foot of snow. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Kelisha William.
Thanks, Kelisha. We now head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report.